What's good? It's Jordan. Today I'll be talking to you about getting away from the self-destructive mentality. See, many times we're used to the self-destructive mentality. Many times we walk this world with the self-destructive mentality. We don't have the wisdom, knowledge, or understanding to discern right from wrong. Whether we're young or we've become far much older, we've learned to live with the destructive mentality. We have to understand that if we want to move forward and grow, and we want to have a fulfilled life, we have to destroy the destructive mentality. Many times, this destructive mentality stems from us learning how to live with pain, learning how to live with sorrow, learning how to not be satisfied, learning how to want more and crave more. And with these things that we learn based upon observation, seeing what other people do, seeing what other people have, we place ourselves in a destructive mentality and we place ourselves on the path to destruction. Why? Because when we focus on things that have nothing to do with us, that do not provide growth, that do not provide strength, and only provide negativity, then we stop ourselves from moving towards the path of change. The path of change is important because when you decide to change your life, when you decide to change your mindset and your mission and your goals, then you're able to identify the things that you need to work on. We all have something that we need to work on. And in this case, where the world is heading, many times we do not focus on our mentality. Many times we actually stay around people who enable dysfunction. So when we're enabled by dysfunction, we congregate with other people who may have the same destructive mentality, and we just harbor in that. If we're going to want to change and want to grow, we're going to have to place ourselves in the position of reflection. And when we place ourselves in the position of reflection, we start to learn the things that we can work on to provide us a better future. If you're around people who just talk about others all the time, they don't talk about anything but other people, they don't talk about change, they don't talk about growth, they don't talk about things that help you to be the person that you want to be in the future, then you have to change your environment. And sometimes this is for the better because you get to see your life from a different perspective and you get to see the change and growth in your life. But, there's things that we may have picked up on when we're younger and carrying it into our older ages, and that is not helping us move forward. That isn't helping us actually do the work needed to actually be placed in the right position for blessings. Sometimes we may talk about other people. Sometimes we may just hold on to things that are no longer important. Sometimes we may hold on to insecurities that may try to destroy us. We may have times where we're having bad days and we focus on those bad times more than the good days that we may have had. Sometimes we just are judgmental towards other people. We may see what other people have, and because we may not have those things, we want to judge those who have those things or those who do not have those things. There's many destructive mentalities that are there: jealousy, envy, boastfulness, being prideful, arrogant, all negative traits that destroy your mentality and stop you from growing. If we allow ourselves to be at a standstill and just be around people who just don't care about growing, then we will not grow. Because we have to understand is there are people out there that want to see the world burn and have no issue with seeing the world burn, to be honest with you. There are people who do not want to change. There are people who do not want to grow. There are people who do not want to change their mentality. There are people who actually don't care about your opinions. They don't care about you changing your mentality. They don't care about what's going on around them. They do not care about anything besides themselves. You may be an individual that is ready to learn, ready to grow, and actually ready to do the work. You may have done your research based upon what's going on in the world, and you may try to give these people ideas of change and growth. And because you are the person you are, maybe they don't see you as an individual who is strong enough, an individual who is a strong leader. They kind of just dismiss what you have to say, dismiss your message, dismiss your ideas, because in their eyes, who are you to be passing this message forward? But at the end of the day, what we must understand is there's going to be people like that, but don't let these people stop you from your mission and your goal on what you actually want to do, because at the end of the day, your life is for you to control. You only have the Most High in yourself at the end of the day. So, instead of leading people who don't want to be led, try leading yourself. Try working on the things that you need to work on. And sometimes if you work on the things that you need to work on, there are people out there that see that and they're able to actually follow behind what you're doing. Actions speak louder than words, so to speak. So at the end of the day, sometimes we may try to convince people to follow us on the journey that we may be on, but at the end of the day, you can't always do that. People have to see you in action for them to believe what you're doing. And at the end of the day, once people see what you're doing and see the change, then they will start to change. They will start to do the work. They will start to heal. Many times we've been placed in environments that do not have healing. And when we're placed in these set environments, it stops us from growth and healing. It stops us from actually doing the work needed, and at the end of the day, if we continue with this destructive mentality, we only hurt ourselves and we only hurt others. Because if you have a destructive mentality and you decide that you want to have a family, even a relationship, if you aren't focusing on changing your mentality and your mindset, and you get into a relationship or a marriage, with that mentality, then you're not going to be a great leader. You're not going to be a great follower of the leader either. If you have a destructive mentality and you do not work past that mentality, how can you have anything positive going for you if you do not change yourself first? So we have to be aware of these things before we place ourselves into various situations and actually do the work needed in order for us to actually have positive outcomes. Because many times we may look at problems but not look at the solution behind these problems, because we may think that there's no solution when there's actually solutions. The solution is for us to do the work within first. So when we do the work within first, we're able to help others on their journey just by leading by example. So today, I want to read this scripture, and I hope these scriptures help you in your daily personal life and help you understand and identify if you have a destructive mentality. Genesis 6:5. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. See, what we must understand is, even though we may have a destructive mentality, whether it be in the past, the present, or even in the future, we still have the ability to change our mindset. We still have the ability to wake up and change the direction and the path of our life. Don't let the enemy make you feel like you're already out of the fight. The enemy wants you to feel like you're out of the fight. The enemy wants you to feel like you lost the battle. Every single day that we continue, there's always a battle within. No matter what we may do, there's always a battle, and we still have the ability to fight the battle. We still have the ability to win that battle. So understand that if you have a destructive mentality and you feel that you need help, turn to the Most High. Focus on the Most High. Speak to the Most High, and He will guide you through how you feel and lead you towards the righteous path and the place that you need to be a part of and beyond. At the end of the day, don't hurt yourself over it. Retrace your steps, redevelop focus and discipline, and understand that all of us go through situations, and all of us once upon a time had a destructive mentality, but you're still able to work through that destructive mentality today, and you're able to be the example and leader in your life to show others that you're able to do whatever it is that the Most High requires us to do in this life today. Understand that you can be a leader in your own life, and you're able to do whatever is needed that the Most High wants you to do on your passion, your purpose, and your mission today. I want to thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Peace.